I honestly wasn't even aware of the passage of time. Well, anyway, congrats to the few people who voted for last option here. That actually made me chuckle a bit. Working on a mapping series has been pretty fun so far, and I think it's going to bring quite a bit of value to the community. Whoops. Map gone, carry on. So I'm definitely not stopping that anytime soon, but for now I have to return to my main series. So, projectile-based weapons. What could I possibly talk about here? Oh yeah, so we're going to briefly analyze the RPG and the crossbow, and then we're going to have some fun with community-submitted ideas, and starting off, let's just get one thing straight. Projectiles in Gold Source are entities. There's nothing special about them. When you shoot, instead of doing a ray cast, the game just spawns an object, gives it some velocity, and sends it flying in your aim direction. This approach is super cool because you can do all kinds of things with your projectiles, like bouncing, proximity, self-guidance, spawning its own sub-projectiles, and so on. So how does Half-Life exactly do it? Well, I think one of the nicest examples is the crossbow. It's something we've analyzed before for the sniper scope feature. But anyway, if we go into primary attack, we're going to see fire sniper bolt and fire bolt. Doesn't really matter which one we go for, I'm going to choose fire bolt. You can see the usual boilerplate involving playback event full, the timers and others, like we covered all of that in the previous videos. What I want you to really focus on is this part here, where it calls bolt create. Oh yes. That's precisely what we're looking for. Depending on how deep you are in the water, it even sets a special velocity for it. Bolt create basically just calls get class pointer. That's Gold Source's way of spawning entities through code. There's still a question of how the bolt deals damage, and we can find that out pretty easily. It uses its own touch function, which deals damage to any entities that touch it. Very nice. Now, this function does have quite a bit of logic inside. If it's an entity that takes damage, it applies so-called multi-damage to the entity, and I'm going to talk about that in the future. If it's level geometry, it sticks to it for about 10 seconds. Pretty simple stuff. In multiplayer, it also explodes 1/10 of a second later, or 100th. I actually don't know, I'm just reading off of a script. But the RPG rocket is literally the same, like basically the same approach. The weapon itself just does a couple more things like keeping track of the amount of active rockets, and it has a more complex launch sequence involving ignition, and then it actually starts the flight. It also emits some smoke, but that's all there really is to it, like it's still fundamentally super simple. I also gotta mention, when you create these entities, when you're using this code, you absolutely have to put the client DLL guard. Because remember, weapons compile on both the server and the client, but when the client simulates the weapon, they can't actually spawn anything. It's the server that does that. With all that out of the way, let's try doing some of your ideas. Trotem wants to see a Sawblade launcher. Oh boy, I wonder where we could find anything resembling a Sawblade. Oh, of course. How could I forget? We have discs in Ricochet. This weapon is really simple to make, let me tell you. We can basically modify the crossbow code, or more specifically the bolt. I've renamed all of them C crossbow bolt into C sawblade and C crossbow into C sawblader, because I couldn't bother typing out sawblade launcher, so forgive me. But first we gotta remove a bunch of stuff we don't need, like the crossbow exploding feature, the zoom, and some other things, just to keep the code as simple and clean as possible. I also changed the function that spawns the bolt itself, so that you don't have to manually set its origin angles in the owner later. It's a nicer API this way, isn't it? Finally, the Sawblade's touch function. I really don't like massive functions, so I split this one up into two cases. That is, when we hit something that is damageable and something that isn't, like a wall. If the Sawblade hits a character, it applies damage and magically disappears. Otherwise, we employ some special logic, basically bounce off a wall, and if it bounced enough times, I don't know, break or something. As homework, you could spawn some metal gips here and there and figure out a more proper way to actually rotate the Sawblade to actually make it spin in the air. And there we go, it's that simple. Cledron wants a grenade launcher that shoots further depending on how long you hold down the trigger. The idea behind this is that instead of firing in primary attack, we increment a timer variable inside and instead fire in weapon idle. The idea is the exact same as the burst shotgun from the last video, it's just slightly different parameters essentially, slightly different behavior. Here Labs wants a tranquilizer gun, I guess a bit like in Deus Ex. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. The way they propose it here would need some modifications to the NPC code, so we're gonna modify the formula a bit, because NPCs and stuff, that's in the next chapter. So I would prefer to keep everything contained in the weapon code itself. So instead of temporarily knocking out enemies and then they get back up later, let's just slowly drain their health over time. Alright, it's a poison dart at that point. In essence, we can modify the crossbow bolt to attach itself onto an enemy. Logically speaking, it's not going to be physically there. It's just going to have a relationship with the NPC. And it's going to enter a new think function, which basically drains the affected enemy's health over time. And once it's done that, it fully removes itself.
You're gonna wish you hadn't done.
Blood loss detected.
We functionally implemented the same thing as bleeding. Stuff like slowness and inaccuracy would require editing the NPC code, so we're going to revisit this idea in the AI programming chapter. Stay tuned for that one. And finally, Carter wants to see grenades that follow a decreasing arc pattern and don't explode until they're far away enough from the player. We can achieve this arc becoming smaller with each bounce. Quite simply, whenever the grenade touches the floor, it makes itself slower. Either that, or we give the grenade some friction. As for detecting the player, we can use a simple think function that checks if the player is nearby every second or so. If the player happens to be outside the radius, we play a sound and explode. Simple as that.
Depleted.
And there we go, that's about it for projectile weapons. I didn't go into too much detail in this video since I feel we're starting to go beyond just code itself, working up to more abstract ideas and concepts. All the fine details that you need, such as how to make an entity solid or invisible, are in chapter 2. And yeah, so in the next video, we're gonna take a look at a couple of non-standard weapon ideas like this one right here. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and since there's only a few of them, I can dedicate quite a bit of time to each idea. So yeah, until then, happy programming.